So we put out a video about why you should avoid expensive first dates. And one of the dope things that came out of that conversation, I feel like, is a need to maybe discuss more about approaching relationships and really just being yourself. Because I think there's a huge disconnect in this conversation. So we're talking about avoiding expensive dates. But I think what a lot of people, one of the major motivations behind it is some people can afford an expensive date because they have the means to, but your average man can't afford to spend close to, on average, $100 for a first date. And the way we're going to continue this conversation is we don't want to encourage people to practice imposter syndrome, which is you're a guy, you're working class, you don't have a whole lot of money, like just to spend. And you're wasting money on a first date with somebody you're still trying to get to know. And you may find out after the first date that you don't want to be with that person. So really just focusing on being yourself and being your true self on dates and why that's important. That's what we're going to be talking about in today's video. So before we get into that, do us a quick favor, like this video, subscribe to the channel. Cami, what do you think about being yourself? Because there seems to be some type of disconnect, I think, on both sides. It's not just men. So we're talking about men in this case with the spending a lot, but it does seem to be a disconnect with women as well, where you have these things people even refer to it like honeymoon stages and stuff like that. But what do you think about this?
So I'm gonna take it back. Anybody who is pursuing, like someone else to be with, hopefully they're pursuing them for potential marriage, okay? So we're going to go with that. And so what I think is important for them to do is, as an individual, the woman or the man, write down what can you offer in this potential relationship.
I like that.
What things, what qualities do you have that can add to this other person that you're going to be with? Before you even know who the person is, before you even go on this first date, that's so important and crucial. Reason being is because when you talk about these $100 dates and stuff, on the first date, literally just trying to get to know you, like we don't work together and things like that. So I don't know really anything about you except you look nice, nice smile, whatever. So before you get to that, you know what you have to offer. And because you got your list, you want them to be able to see those things through being yourself, through having those conversations with them. So that's another reason why I feel we stressed and, in the video that money should not be the main thing.
No,
and they're looking at the fact that, hold on, I saw that bill when it came to the table and it was $9.99, whatever. And I'm just like, no, but you want to think about, oh my gosh, he was so sweet when he did this. And when he held that door for me, people, chivalry is dead. We love it. Ignore all the hype. We love it. Keep doing it. But I'm just like, definitely, because you have more to offer. Everybody has more to offer than just the pocket. And like you said, some people can afford that. Yeah. We weren't just saying a specific price, right? That was the average. But we're saying make sure that you are truly showing all these different qualities, all these different attributes that you have to offer, and that they can see that. You don't want them to just stay because you paid for the expensive bill.
Right.
Because then already that to me is that's sketchy. That's a red flag.
No, it's definitely a red flag. I think why it matters is, just to add to what you're saying, is if you're dating someone, maybe you're dating just because you want a friend or you want some type of intimacy. I think you do have to go back. And so you made a good point about listing out some of the things that you bring to the table. But because that's because you actually want to partner with a person. You're working towards this partnership, which we call, of course, marriage. And you're working toward partnering with someone. So you're looking at it from a practical standpoint. Like, what can I bring to the table as a man? Women, what can I bring to the table as a woman? I think that's really good advice. But just
potential mom or potential dad, things like that. That's
exactly
huge. Yeah.
You have to know your intentions when you're dating. And those things matter. If you're just dating for companionship, I'm not saying that's wrong. There's nothing wrong with wanting friends, friends of the opposite sex and all of that. I think it's just know your intentions, know where you're coming from in it. Then you can determine how you approach your dating. Like, you can determine how much money you feel you want to spend based on the amount you make and things like that. But ultimately, really focus on who you are, what you stand for, what you believe in, all of those different things, and the type of person, character, personality. I always tell people, be you, but I'll go a step further typically and say, be you the best you on a date. You want to show all those great things, but don't show things that aren't realistic. You don't want to show oh, I'm a baller. Like, this is how I eat on a regular. You go out, every time you
Yeah.
take her out, you're taking her out to the nicest place possible. But you don't take her to the most garbage place. Also, take her to McDonald's.
We're not saying that.
No,
Yeah.
we're not saying that at all.
Exactly.
We're not saying go to McDonald's, drive through on the first day. We're not saying none of that. At the least, I said a coffee shop, which that's a great environment for talking, for getting together and
Cute
stuff like
little
that.
coffee shop. Yeah.
And your bill might come out to a similar amount that like some of the fast food places, but it's a better ambiance, better feel, and that's great for lunch and things like that. But no, we're not saying go to the lowest extreme of the conversation. We're saying just be reasonable.
Yeah.
Really be reasonable in what's realistic for you. And
So
eventually, go ahead.
Let's flip it. So say man spends over $100 for this date, wine and dines her, whatever. And then, a lot of us girls, when we go out, our friends know because they're ready for us to come back and tell them about how it went. Okay. So it was like, no, he was, he paid for everything, things like that. But the whole time, here go to the part, he talked about himself.
Oh, yeah.
I barely got a word in. He couldn't stop talking about himself. He was all full of himself and things like that. He was saying what things he wouldn't want in a woman and things like that on the first day.
Yeah, that's wild.
Like up here saying she always got to have her hair and nails and you know what I'm saying? So yeah, you just spent all that money. I don't know. You would think he's about to get another date, but by the sound of it, no, and it had nothing to do with your money, and that's why we've been pushing this so hard because the whole personality was a turnoff. So no.
Yeah, so you want to, for better or for worse, be who you are up front. Be as genuine to yourself and true to yourself as you can. Now, don't be stupid or like Cami was talking about. Like, don't be silly and say stuff that it's just putting yourself in the worst. Like, everybody knows how to present themselves, put their best foot forward.
Hopefully.
And we know at the end of the day, you're going to always do that to start off with. And obviously, more and more as the person gets to know you, they're going to learn things that are not as flattering. But we're not saying put those out in the front. But what we're saying is be true to you. So when we say be you, be true to who you are.
The best you.
Yeah. If you know that you're not one that likes to do expensive stuff or you're more frugal and things like that, what I love about not having a lot is it forces you to be creative. It forces you to come up with stuff that is unique, that you otherwise wouldn't have went to. You just went and grabbed a box of chocolates that you saw first thing when you walked into a Walgreens or Walmart during Valentine's Day. So not having a lot or not focusing on just blowing a lot of money allows for you to do things that are unique, that are really thoughtful, because, people hear people say the thought that counts. That's a really true thing where if you're in a situation with a date, now this may not apply for every single woman, but for a lot of women, they realize how much work you put into something, the thoughtfulness of it, the intentionality behind
the planning.
That is going to do way more for you than just you spending money. You probably won't even remember it when it's all said and done.
Sure.
Or in some cases, I've heard this too, and I don't know, you can speak to this from the woman's side of things, but I heard some women who felt compelled to have to go on a second date or to have to continue to stay in communication with someone they didn't really like because they wined and dined them that first time so well that they were just like, dang, I feel bad for just, ghosting this person.
I don't know. These days, women, they don't care. They let you take them on a few dates and still. But you're right, it depends on the person.
But you don't want to be used if that is the case. There's some savage girls out here that will do that. You're 100% right.
For sure.
So, again, another warning. You don't want someone to be like, oh, I'm about to use the mess out of this guy in this time because he's like,
nobody told him to spend that much. Yeah.
Exactly, So that's another reason why you want to make sure that you set healthy expectations that you can continue to follow up with, that you can continue to do, and you build on top of it. If you really like this person, eventually you might have the high budget. Again, that's why we said the first date, we focused on that because that was the caveat. It wasn't dates, period. Don't be cheap or anything like that. And we didn't even use the word cheap. Inexpensive dates is what we really push for. Because at the end of the day, what really matters is not the food that you both ate. It's not
the drink.
Usually when I went out on dates, I didn't want to eat a whole lot because I didn't want to be stuffed or I didn't want to come off greedy. So I just,
get messy and stuff.
Yeah, so you don't even really think about like that. You don't even get to really fully enjoy everything anyway. So the bigger message is you just want to set realistic expectations from start to finish because it's going to lead to the healthiest relationship and hopefully with the right person, it'll turn into marriage, or it'll find, or at least help you to narrow down what you like and what you don't like, and give you more opportunities to where you don't feel like it's going to make you poor to have to date and things like that.
Yeah.
So those are our thoughts on this. Hopefully you all enjoyed this, and feel free, push back. Give us all the pushback you have if you disagree with this, or if you think there's another approach. We're not saying you can't do, we're not telling you what you can or can't do, but we're just saying on average what works the best for most men and most women. And that's what we care about, is helping the most people, not just the few that are balling, not the few guys that got it all together, have all the money to just blow and things like that. We're talking about the guys that don't have a lot and giving some creative ideas.
But are great guys. Yeah.
Exactly. So those are our thoughts. Do us a quick favor before you head out.
Like
This video, hit that thumbs up, and subscribe to the channel. And if you really want to see more content from us, hit that notification bell so you get a notification for every new video that we put out.